Beulah, what inspired you to become a psychotherapist?
Well, that's an interesting question, Geethan. I think I was always a bit of a psychotherapist in my own family. I seem to have had that kind of inclination for analyzing what was going on in the family dynamics. So I think there was already a kind of a layer that was ready for psychotherapy. But in fact, when I qualified, when I did my degree, I did a BA with honors, and then I did a teacher's diploma, because that's what my father wanted me to do. And when I married, Bernard was a general practitioner, and we had gone over to London and spent some time there. And when we came back to South Africa, he went into practice as a GP in Cape Town. And he was very good at hypnosis. And his practice became very much involved with hypnotherapy. So much so that, you know, we both found ourselves reading a lot of psychology, because that would have lent us to that area. And eventually he decided that he wanted to become a psychiatrist. And so we left Cape Town and went back to Johannesburg, where we both came from. And in fact, he went into training. And because, you know, I was reading what he was reading, we were talking, we were sharing a lot of all of this, I became very interested in doing psychology. And so after my second daughter was born, I decided I would go back to university and start again and do psychology. I think they gave me 1 year for the work that I had done. And then I did the honors, and I did the MA. And I had originally, really, I think I had wanted to go into academia, but I had a very delightful lecturer at the time. And she said to me, you know, I think you'll do well as a psychologist. And this, for the first time, they were starting for the first time at Wits University in Johannesburg. They were starting an MA course to do psychotherapy. And she asked me to join it, which I did. And that's really how I got involved with becoming a therapist.
And was it any particular school of psychotherapy you entered in?
Oh, absolutely. I was very, very fortunate, because I met in the group at the hospital where I was attending groups. I met my therapist, the woman who became my therapist. She was a Kleinian analyst, had trained with Hannah Siegel in London. And I liked immensely the way she was working. And so I went to her for training. And I went into my own therapy, which lasted several years, and which I was incredibly grateful for, because I'm an absolute believer that you have to have your own therapy if you're doing this work, because otherwise there's no way you can really get out of the way. So I had this training with her, and I was trained then as a Kleinian, and I had a lot of supervision. There were also at that time several excellent psychoanalysts in Johannesburg at that period. And I went for a lot of supervision and a lot of seminars. And I think I had a very sound and excellent training. We also had people like Tom Main come from London and various other people. So I do really feel very grateful for the training that I had. And I did at that time a great deal of work, of long-term work with very difficult patients. The idea at that time was to work through difficulties and depressions rather than using drugs or shock therapy or any of the other things that people were doing at that time. So I had really a very good basic training. I worked for years with patients on a very intense basis. I would see people daily or very often, people would call me out in the middle of the night. I would work really, really very closely. And I really feel that this gave me a basis and an understanding of what I was doing.
Mm.
And I really felt very, very grateful for that.